Hello, and welcome to another episode of Atlanta Film and TV's Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with actress, dancer, and host of the Actor Mommy podcast, Courtney Locke. Hi, Courtney. How are you today?
Hi, Mandisa. I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I've been really looking forward to this.
Yes, me too. Me too. So we gave you a brief introduction, but could you share a little bit more about who you are and what you do in the Atlanta film and TV community?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a singer, actress, dancer, choreographer, and founder of Actor Mommy Productions. We are a multimedia production company based in Atlanta, all about telling stories about moms, for moms, specifically moms in our industry, really parents in our industry, and being it having those things created by parents in our industry. We started a few years ago, really, after we were coming out of complete and total lockdown, producing a couple of shows at Aurora as well as at the Hurt Stage at the Alliance. We've done a couple of film projects, and then we have the Actor Mommy podcast, which is really where everything started, just talking to moms in the industry. It was my way of being able to talk to moms in the industry about how the heck they actually did any of this because I was just at a loss when I got pregnant. I'm like, all right, how do you do any of it? Because I feel like I've been told, since I started when, I was 12 or 13, once you have a child, if you haven't, quote unquote, made it, if you're not Beyonce, then, you're out. There's no way that you can keep doing this. And so I really just needed to talk to moms who were close to me, and it ended up being really great conversations, realizing that our community here in Atlanta is actually very big of parents, both in on the film side, TV, as well as theater. And then I got to talk to some really amazing women who are on Broadway and, just living out their dreams of like, yeah, I have a child and then also do 8 shows a week. So it's been really, really cool. We took a little bit of a hiatus, and hopefully this year we can get back into not only recording the podcast but producing our own content again.
Wow, that's amazing because I'm a mom too. I have
Oh
three,
wow.
so I have to like legit find time. And I also teach kindergarten. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh my gosh, no, I did not know that. That is, you're around kids so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but Atlanta Film and TV has a workshop specifically for moms, but like kind of differently, more like momagers
Okay.
get their kids into the film industry. So teaching them the business side of entertainment, the importance of having somebody look over documents, possibly
Absolutely.
an entertainment lawyer. So it's things like that because I've done casting. I've casted for a children's hip hop artist, DJ Willie Wow. Um,
Okay.
I saw so many things done wrong by parents. Not
Got it.
that your kid is good, but you need to know what to do and what not to do so you don't ruin your kid's chances or their career because they could certainly have a career, but people were like leaving set early, and I would specifically tell them this is going to be 2 hours. You have to stay here the whole time. People
Yeah.
ask me, can I leave? And I'm like, well, at the time it was a photo shoot, and I'm like, if you leave, then the photos won't be consistent because your kid.
Yeah.
So just 2 hours is not a long time.
2 hours is not a long time, but yeah, I mean, it's really interesting what people do and don't know about the industry in general. And I think because, maybe we've been in it for such a long time that you have a tendency to forget that it's not common knowledge to everybody. So yeah, like that workshop, I can understand how important and necessary. And I actually have a private student whose mom I'm going to send your way because she is one of those people that it's just her and her daughter, and she is somewhat new to this. And so right now I've been her outlet. But if I can send her to,
Yeah.
moms who do this more often, because my son really hasn't done too much besides what I've produced. And so I haven't had to worry about that right now. And I would love to send her to some more qualified people.
Thank you. I'll be more than happy to, guide her, and she wants to talk one on one, and do have the workshop as well. So
Oh,
it is
amazing.
on the website. So can you take us on your journey of how you started to where you are today?
When I was younger, I, probably like a lot of people, fell in love with TV and film and fell in love with theater. Large in part to my parents. My mom took me to my first show. I think it was Annie. Like it was like Annie or Oklahoma. It was one of these, very quote unquote classic musicals. And I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, I love every aspect of how this works, the dancing, the singing. But I had really horrible stage fright. And so I didn't end up really doing anything with it. For a while. In fifth grade, my best friend at the time heard me sing in choir and was like, oh girl, you should do this. And so that kind of really like sparked again the trying to get past this stage fright, voice lessons, dance classes, a lot of stuff like that. And throughout high school, started doing really anything that I could, whether it was theater or starting auditioning, started modeling, started doing pageants, dragging my mom all over Houston, Texas, as well as most of the southern United States, and California. And, we just kind of started doing everything that we could. And honestly, needed a workshop like yours for momagers, because my mom was kind of, that same way of just, we're kind of flying blind, and we're going based off of me just loving to perform and trying to figure out how to do that. Was doing pop music in my teens and early 20s. Finally got a record deal, which was like the thing that I was really, really working for. And then it turned out to be, that stereotypical, this is not at all what you expected. Felt like a little bit of a sham kind of thing. And I said, okay, I want to get back into theater. So then I started doing hitting hard with theater, working, multiple jobs, going to rehearsals at night, all of that stuff, and was making really great progress when we lived in Houston, had booked a couple of films, had gone out to New York a few times to audition, booked a few national commercials, and I was like, yes, we are here and we're making it. And my then fiance, my now husband, we were in the process of moving to New York. We ended up moving to Atlanta because he got offered to open the first mod pizza that was here, that was in Kennesaw, and so we ended up staying here, and it was really just like not what I was expecting. My first and only memory of Atlanta was being in the Atlanta airport about 15 years ago, and I was like, I am never coming back to Atlanta again. This airport is horrible.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, it's so huge, and
It's so
so
huge.
many people. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes,
When
so big.
Yeah, so I flew out in 2017, and like from like before that, it was a minute since I had flown, and
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, it's so many people. And meanwhile, I flew on Delta. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. When I got home,
Okay.
people were like, "Is this the only Delta terminal?" And I'm like, "You're in Columbus, Ohio, of course. This is not the Atlanta airport."
You don't have a whole Delta side? Whatever do you mean?
Oh,
But yeah, I was just like, I'm never coming back to Atlanta. And now I love it. This is, I consider this more home than I think I ever did of my hometown. And my husband and I got married and found out I was pregnant, which was like a real, just not something that we were trying for at the time. It was a moment that I was just like, I don't know what to do. And then the entire world shut down. And was one of these moments of, so I can either sit back in my life and not go after the things that I really want. or I can show my son, and every little biracial girl out there, every 30 something biracial woman who has not quite made it yet, that we can still do this, baby or not. And how do we go about that? So then Actor Mommy really got started. Like I said, we produced quite a few things our first year, and then luckily myself and a lot of the moms that were working on projects with me all got booked. And so we were very grateful on like various projects for TV and for theater. And then I started doing a lot of choreography work for theaters around town, as well as high schools around town. And so Actor Mommy itself has taken a little bit of a backseat in the sense of us producing our own stuff, but it's been really nice to be able to give the moms that were working with us a creative outlet in a professional yet, I don't want to say relaxed. It was just a comfortable and supported manner where like our kids were at rehearsal with us. And it was really great because after we did that, again, I found out how big and how supportive this industry is, and the fact that like now I'm bringing my kid to rehearsal at theaters or at jobs that I never thought that I would be able to. And one of my directors, actually one of my high school directors, my son is the mascot for one of my high schools, is what we call him, because he'll come to rehearsal, he'll like tell everybody to point their feet and like do all this stuff, and he's very involved. He'll be on stage one day, I swear. But she likes to say that she really loves to show the kids that I am still doing what I love, and also having my child there, being able to pursue what it is that I love, and again, showing them and showing him that like you can do it. It is really hard, and I'm very tired and have to be
Yeah.
caffeinated multiple times. But I mean, you of all people, you get it. And I'm like, not only working, having children, but like working with children regularly can be so beautiful and amazing, in so many fulfilling ways, creative ways. But at the same time, you're like, oh, there's a lot of energy that I have to put out.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy. So, it's been raining all week.
Hmm.
Really gone to the playground once.
Yes. Oh no.
The school that I'm at, we don't have like a gym per se for
Okay.
PE. So they do it in the pavilion outside. So yesterday I was in the cafeteria and I saw the PE teacher like getting all the water out. And so after lunch, of course it's recess, and then we did indoor recess, and then afterwards they go to PE. Well, there were fire ants everywhere, and kids kept
Oh
pointing
no.
it out, and they kept pointing. And then there were worms. She was like, "Just go to the playground." I didn't even notice. She was like, "If you notice, they've ran the whole entire time."
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah." And they're really only in PE for 30 minutes. I was like, that would explain why they've been running a lot in school, because they haven't been outside.
No, they've gone stir crazy. They're like, we need to be able to
Yeah.
move our legs.
Yeah, so you touched on it a little bit. And I didn't even know you did pageants. I did pageants too.
Yeah. What pageant system did you do?
So I did my school pageant in college. Did the right Miss Black Wright State University pageant.
Yes.
I was in the Miss Ohio USA pageant.
Yeah.
In place in that. That one was interesting. And
Yes. Hmm.
and then I did the Miss Black, what was it? The Miss Black Atlanta pageant.
Oh yeah. It's so funny too because I haven't done them in so long, and how like out of the loop I am now. But like before, they used to be my entire world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did America, I did USA. I don't know that I ever placed at America. I placed I placed at my hometown's USA pageant, got top five like my first year
Okay.
running. I would say I was like, did my natural hair, hip my I was really loving the fact that I was like, one, I walked in front of a bikini in these what I thought at the time, these big old hips, compared to every other girl that was on stage at the time. With my, my curls used to be a lot bigger and a lot thicker, and I had this big old afro on stage, and I was so proud of myself and so happy. And then I made the mistake of straightening my hair for the next year,
Mhm.
and I did not place. And I was like, that's what I get for going against the curls. They fought back. They said absolutely not.
Wow. Yeah, your curls they're pretty. Yeah, my hair is curly too. It's right now it's just a lot. So that's why.
Oh, I'm good. They're beautiful. Your braids look good. I'm like, it's one style that I have always been, um, honestly not sure if I could try. I have always wanted to try it, but this goes into a whole other conversation about me being biracial and what hairstyles, uh, I could do would be, that my hair could pull off and a whole other thing. But anyway, conversation.
We'll talk more about that after the this.
Yes.
Yes. So you touched on it a little bit about how your mom supported you, but
Mhm.
my question is, I do know she recognized your love of the arts, so that is answered. How did she nourish your gift to facilitate growth?
Pretty much to, I don't want to even say to a fault, but my mom did not say no. There were times, obviously, where we couldn't afford certain things. I couldn't do as many dance classes as some of my girlfriends. But when it came to, driving to, hell or high water, heaven and earth, like nothing would stop her from at least attempting, taking me to auditions or, driving me to the classes that we could afford, going, like I said, going across the southern United States for pageants. But there was never a conversation of, this is not an actual career. There was never a conversation. You should have a plan B. You should major in something else. My mom is loves the arts, like is a musical girl all the way, but she's very analytical as well. She has a degree in, I always get this wrong, it's either a degree in biology with a minor in chemistry or vice versa. And so, but never was it ever a thing of like, you need to go into something that is quote unquote reliable or sustainable or practical. It was just like, okay, what can we make work and what can we not make work at this moment in time? And so yeah, she was there for the voice lesson. She was there at every performance. It she had heard a quote, I think by what is this man's name? He was on Star Trek and X-Men. Very beautiful British bald older man. Oh gosh, he's a knight. Anyway, doesn't matter. But he said, "Do not have a plan B because then you won't focus on your plan A." And that is what my mom told me for many years of just like her and my dad both. My dad is always like, "Stay in your lane, turn your blinders on, stay in your lane." If you have to work in a movie theater, work in a movie theater as long as you're staying in the realm of the arts. And every once in a while, I will like veer off that thinking that, okay, if I go over here, this will be more lucrative or more realistic or more practical. And when I actually do stay in my lane, I end up prospering even more than I thought before, as long as I keep that focus. So it's been literally could not do anything without the two of them. But like my mom has been the one in the car for 15 years, being like, all right, let's go.
Wow. That's amazing because I've heard stories where parents were like, no, you need to
Mm.
have a plan B. Why don't you do this? You know, this won't work. And then they're like really successful. And then I have people who say their parents were very supportive. My mom, she was supportive. Of,
Mm.
um, I I don't know a lot of I don't know very many people who had drama in elementary school, but we did. I think starting in first grade. And so I
That's amazing.
thank you. So I would go home and I would unknowingly mimic my drama teacher and I would perform what I didn't know back then was a monologue for her.
Yes.
And I used to write my own plays and put them on for people and the neighborhood. And then
Yeah.
I got assigned the job of during the Christmas holiday season, writing a Christmas play and putting it on. So, yeah,
I love that so much. So much.
thank you. So, we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to Conversations with Atlanta's Movers and Shakers. I am your host, Mandisa Johnson. Today, we are having a conversation with actress, dancer, and the host of the Actor Mommy podcast, Courtney Locke. Can you talk to us about, you talked about it a little bit, but could you share maybe just a little bit more about your inspiration behind the Actor Mommy podcast? And could you give us an idea of some of the people that you've interviewed?
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit came from I had a 6 month old in the top of quarantine. My husband, we had just moved in with my mom a little bit before my son was born because our leases was up, and we're like, we're only going to be here for a short time. And so we were living with my mom at the time. My husband and my mom were both considered essential workers. So I was just at the house for 12 hours a day, sometimes by myself, talking to a 6 month old and like, what is the meaning of life? How do I do this? Are we ever gonna, make it out of this situation? And what does that look like after we do? And it was an outlet, one, to be able to talk to other moms in this industry. I think I watched, not I think, I know, I watched Beyonce's Homecoming documentary, and it was amazing. And I felt so inspired about, this amazing woman who's going through a lot of the same, especially when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to weight gain, when it comes to, the mom guilt, the working mother, all of that stuff of this seems like such a daunting task for all of us. And how do the moms who do not have Beyonce's money, if Beyonce is going through this and Beyonce has this much amount of money and nannies on staff, how do those of us who do not have those careers, that do not have that money, but have those aspirations, how are we doing, Beyonce sized dreams on a not Beyonce budget? And so just being able to talk to moms who are in the industry and working, whether that's they are, I always say I'm, not an aspiring whatsoever, but I'm not a household name. So like just, the lack of a better term, like that average working mom in our industry. And so Brittany Miniweather, who is a friend of mine, who is also pretty well known in the Atlanta theater community. She is an actress, a producer, a writer. Had her daughter shortly after I had my son, and she produced a lot of stuff with Actor Mommy with me. And she was my first conversation. I was like, "What are you doing? How are you doing it?" And that first conversation was very funny because it was a little bit blind leading the blind, because neither one of us, this is our first time having a child, and now we're like, do you know what you're doing? I don't know what I'm doing. How do we do this? Like, we're just going to piggyback off each other for the next hour and try and like come up with a game plan. Um, and then I ended up just emailing or messaging on Instagram women that I knew of or were friends of a friend. And that got me to, funny enough, now she's moved here, but an actress named Lauren Locks, who we knew each other from Texas for some reason. We still don't know why. But she came on, and this was like our first time actually talking. We knew each other more on Instagram. She came on the podcast, and now she lives in Atlanta, and she's a pretty amazing filmmaker. Two of kind of these, or I guess three of these kind of like outlandish people that I thought that I would never talk to were Tim Chattarong-Su, who is a pretty well-known actor, comedian, rapper. He got very big on YouTube. We shot a movie together that like never really went anywhere a while ago. But he was on Wild and Out for years. He may still be on Wild and Out. and Kara Cooper and Jenny DeNoia, who are both. Jenny was in Wicked as either, you know, a lead, a standby, a swing for 15 years, and then Kara Cooper, who has done multiple Broadway shows over the course of her career. But these women who I was just like, oh, I'm not. They're not going to talk to me. I'm going to message them just to see because I admire them. I admire their careers. I'm like, if like how did you do it? Can I just, you know, replicate what you did? And the fact that they said yes and they came on and they were so incredibly sweet and supportive was a dream come true because I had seen Jenny DeNoia in Wicked multiple times and I was like, I
Wow.
want your job. I want to be Elphaba in Wicked. And so I fangirled hardcore. I was like, I don't think you know, because one of the times that I was in New York, my mom and I went to go see Wicked. I was at this point 5, 6 years ago where I was just like, you know what, I'm done. Like I'm giving up my career. This is hard. And the fact that she was the Elphaba the first time I ever saw Wicked, and then unbeknownst to me, she was playing Elphaba in the night that we went to go see it in New York. So you know, two totally different states, 7 maybe 10 years apart was just a sign for me. And then I got to talk to her on Zoom and I was just like, I don't know what to do with myself. And yeah, it's been really amazing to just be able to like talk to these moms. And again, how are you doing it? What tips do you have? You know, and also getting into the fun and silly stuff of like, what's the weirdest thing that has come out of your mouth since becoming a parent? I've said some things that I never thought that I would say, let alone to a small human being.
Yeah, just there's some, yeah, and not my own kids, but the kids that I teach. Um,
Oh,
why when I used to teach two like 2 year olds, one thing I never thought I would say was, you know, like when you're going up a ramp and there's like a, what is that? A railing. I said,
yeah.
don't lick, don't lick the railing, and I'm like,
Oh,
I never thought I would say that.
oh yeah. But you do, and you got to tell them regularly. I don't understand why you want to lick this railing right now. It can't be good.
Was outside too, so you know everybody touches it. I'm like, well, what? Didn't see that one coming.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I have how many you said you have 3 children. How old are they?
13, 16, and 19.
Okay. And then all boys, all girls.
Oh, the two girls are, one's 13, she's special needs, and
Okay.
16-year-old is a girl, and 19 is a boy.
Okay. So being a boy mom, I'm sure that we both have said very particular sentences a lot over the years. I'm not going to say them right now, but like the amount of times that I have had to say certain things about a certain thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, my kid's only 4. I thought I had more time.
So the kindergartners, some of the stuff that they say, and they'll know, and I'll tell you after the interview's over,
Mhm.
the looks sometimes is things that are said in the classroom. I'm like, okay.
Just, mhm. Yeah,
Yep.
that's all you can do.
I had to tell one kid, leave me alone. don't don't look at me right now. Because you know what you're looking at me for. So
Mhm.
what is one tip you could share with moms looking to break in the entertainment industry or momagers looking to get their child into the entertainment industry?
Um, go out on a limb and email. I made a decision in my career a couple of years ago that I was no longer going to rely on my talent. I am just going to annoy you until you give me a job. Um, so just showing up. It never hurts to email somebody to ask for their feedback to see if they have an opportunity that you might be able to be a part of, to let them know that you have a skill set that might be invaluable to them, and to start treating auditions in a very different way. If you're someone that auditions regularly, you know, I'm at a good age right now where he will go and sit a little bit in a separate room for about 6.5 minutes. So as long as I can knock out that self tape or what have you, to just be very open and honest with the creative team as well. Like I said, I've been able to bring him to rehearsals I never thought that I would, simply by speaking up and saying something. I have made a lot of progress in my career because I emailed in an artistic director or put out a proposal for something that I wanted to do myself, and put myself up for jobs that I didn't necessarily think that I was ready for. And because I wasn't ready for them, I had to get ready, which is like, it's intense, but also so worth it because you realize what you are actually capable of. Um, and as like cheesy as it sounds, it's just like, just try, just show up, just go. If that's what you want, just go after it. Timers are also a really huge thing in our house now. If if I need to get something done, I try and like set off the timer of like, okay, you're doing this for 30 minutes. And then I play with my son or give my son undivided attention for like 10 to 15 minutes. And he knows like, okay, if the timer's going off, all right, mommy's got to go work now, or this is just you. It's been really good for both of us. And just like now we know what we need to do, but I'm also putting in that time to make me engage with my child, but also to make me feel like I am succeeding at both things. And it's very hard to feel like you're succeeding in an industry that's all about rejection and not giving you feedback, as well as like a small child, which you feel like you're never doing anything right. So yeah, absolutely. Go email somebody, and then ask them for either help or a job. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there like that. And yeah, set a timer.
That's a that's a good one. You kind of hit on my next question with the emailing, which this kind of ties into this. So we are big on networking and building relationships in the Atlanta film and TV community. Could you share about the importance of networking and what tools have you used or networking events you have attended recently?
um, oh, I don't know that I can name one recently. I've been very lucky of being talking a lot and being friendly and getting to know the people that I am currently working with, so that they do put me up for another job. I think being very graceful, supportive, and gracious with the people that you work with, coming in and doing the job that you need to do, will go uh, will make you sort of leaps and bounds when it comes to people just putting your name in rooms that you are not in. Um, and because of that, I need to do more networking. It's actually like one of the things that I'm either really great at it or I'm really terrible at it. Like I will be in a mood where I'm like, absolutely, we're going to go to every networking event and I can talk to all of these people all of the time. And then there are other times where I am just a hermit and like a shell of a person, and I'm like, it either comes with it's a nervousness, or if it's just like a very like closed off and like angry, I don't want to talk to anybody. One of a great event that I went to last year was the Women in Film and TV gala. And I think the gala itself is pretty. You get to get dressed up. It's a good time. But I certainly got to meet a couple of really amazing women. One of them who I'm quite good friends with now, and she's great at just being there in a pinch for a reader or a self tape. And I think, again, importance for us, particularly as mothers in the industry, sometimes it just comes down to like, hey, are you going to the same audition that I am? Like, can you watch my
Right.
kid? Like, I have to bring him. And that's been a godsend. I think, talking to people in the rooms that you're in, audition rooms in particular, as long as uh, you're not invading their space while they're getting ready for something. But I don't believe in this closed off, not giving, I guess, the inside information to the other people that you're auditioning with. That doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I think when I was younger and I was very self conscious about it, I'm like, well, if I tell you, I'm not going to book this job. And now I've realized so much that it is less about that, and that if we're all in the same playing field, it makes us all just like work that much better in the room, giving the creative team a run for their money, which is great. But it just brings us together as a community where we can support each other in a way that I think that we just need. And so, yeah, networking events are really really important. I think if you go with a goal too of, I want to either talk to this one person, if you're looking for a job, bring cards. If you're going to just engage with the community around you and figure out like how can I support you, and going into it, like I said, with a goal or with um, just we're all about gratitude this year. Just a feeling of like gratitude of like, yay, I'm so happy we get to be in the same space. What can I do to support you in the future? Whether that's, promoting your work or attending your work. And then I think once you go into it with that kind of mindset, one, it makes it so much easier to talk to people about very vulnerable projects. And I think networking events are vulnerable in general because you literally have to walk up to a stranger and be like, hello. um, but yeah, like I said, I've been very lucky in my last couple of jobs that I've been referred to these jobs by people I had worked with previously. And so be be mindful about how you speak to people and be encouraging, and just a joy to work with those that you're currently working with.
Yeah, I agree with the. I'm sorry, my daughter is screaming downstairs. She's watching her favorite show. Anyways, like people remember how you made them feel.
Hmm.
If they have if the person that you meet may have a project and they'll keep you in mind, especially if you like trade information, they'll
Hmm.
definitely keep you in mind. Or if you have a question and you email them, I emailed somebody that I met at an event around this time last year, and they were willing to meet with me via Zoom and have a conversation because
Absolutely.
I just had questions. But if you treated them like, they're the scum of the earth, then they're
Hmm.
like, oh, I remember this person. No, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
I don't have anything for you. So do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to share with us if you can?
Yeah, I mean, mostly right now, I am doing a lot of choreography around town, which is great. I am choreographing Miss You Like Hell at Woodstock Arts that opens in March. A lot of my high schools are opening in March as well. Choreographing Sweeney Todd, Urinetown, and Little Shop of Horrors in the next couple of months. So for projects that I'm currently in, no, if you want to check us out on Instagram for Actor Mommy and keep just up to date of what we're doing. We're going to relaunch the website soon, get back on producing our YouTube videos. And hopefully producing our Broadway Baby Mamas, as well as our Moms Unleashed on Christmas or the holidays. We're going to do a rebranding, Moms Unleashed on the Holidays. The goal is this coming year. So just keep a lookout for those things.
Yeah, I love it. Staying busy.
We're trying. We're out here.
So we like to ask our Atlanta Movers and Shakers gems, which stands for Great Educational Moments with Movers and Shakers. Do you have any gems you'd like to share with our readers and viewers?
Ooh, if you're a dancer, treat dance calls like class. Go in and enjoy the process. Like you said, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. We work in a very vulnerable industry, and being able to be open with that vulnerability, but also remembering to set boundaries. Um, if you can and you don't want to, don't take the next job. If you are in a financial space and it doesn't make sense to take this because you're not invested in it, don't do it because you will get booked again. I promise. We don't have to run ourselves into the ground anymore. Like there's no point. Um, but yeah, the just go for it. Do all the things.
Love it. So how can people connect with you?
I'm on Instagram at the Courtney Locke, as well as at Actor Mommy, CourtneyLocke.com. And yeah, it's mostly just Instagram. I am a pictures and videos girl.
Yes, that's where I connected with you. So thank you
Yes.
so much for answering a few questions for us. And thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to AtlantaFilmingTV.com to stay up to date. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.